I am proud to endorse Donald Trump for President of the United States.
He's going to be the nominee of the Republican Party. He gives us the best chance to win.
President Trump protected our borders. He cut red tape like no president has ever done before.
And there's not a better choice left in this race than this man right here.
Former opponents now lining up to support him. Former President Donald Trump securing major endorsements from both old 2016 rivals and 2024 dropouts as he looks to hold on to his lead in the Republican presidential primary. Let's bring in Byron York, chief political correspondent at the Washington Examiner, and of course a Fox News contributor. Byron, let me just put it up on the screen for everybody to see all in one place. Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Marco Rubio, both endorsing Trump, which is very intriguing, considering the rancor between them back in the 2016 campaign, as well as Vivek Ramaswamy and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Clearly, the early money is riding on Donald Trump to wrap this up and wrap it up quickly.
I did see that. You know, for people who are old enough to remember way back in 2016, after Donald Trump finally put Ted Cruz away, it was in Indiana, Cruz just let loose with all of this anger and bile, and he was just absolutely livid against Donald Trump, and now here he is endorsing him for re-election. So, you know, politics does change things. Now, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but it seems to me that the intensity of interest in this race is kind of flat and maybe going down right now. If you remember, before Iowa, we would talk a lot about what was going on, and somebody would always say, but remember, nobody has actually voted yet. Well, now they have. It's only 110,000 people in Iowa, but they voted, and Trump won really big. And now there seem to be a lot of people waiting to see if Nikki Haley can do well in New Hampshire. Not sure what well actually means. And certainly if she can't, they're going to declare this race over, if not already.
It looks like in a new St. Anselm poll that was taken immediately after the Iowa caucuses that the former president has extended his lead, now with 52%. Compared to Nikki Haley at 38%, Ron DeSantis way back at 6%. Trump obviously has benefited some from Vivek Ramaswamy dropping out. Haley's benefited some from Chris Christie dropping out, but Trump is still ahead by 13 points. He may not win by the margins he did in Iowa, but it looks like he's pretty solid.
Yeah, this is more damage to the old conventional wisdom. If you remember, before Iowa, you did have a number of Republicans and others who wanted to stop Trump, saying, really, all the other candidates should drop out. The Republican non-Trump field should pick one candidate and run against Trump one-on-one, and that way they can be the real majority and defeat Trump. Well, it didn't work in Iowa. It didn't happen in Iowa. It's kind of close to happening in New Hampshire, where you have Trump running and you have Haley running. And Ron DeSantis is really not in the picture very much. He's down around 5 or 6%. As you mentioned, Chris Christie, an anti-Trump favorite, is out. And Vivek Ramaswamy, a pro-Trump favorite, is out. So right now it looks like it's almost that one-on-one race, but Trump still has a substantial lead.
You know, we talk about the vital signs that President Trump has had going into this race. Here's what Political Wire said about it. Trump has one of the highest levels of institutional support we've ever seen for a non-incumbent presidential candidate. Simply put, candidates with the quantity and quality of Trump's endorsements have never lost their party's nomination. And you've got to wonder, when you look ahead past New Hampshire, if it's going to be all over after next Tuesday, because South Carolina, which is Nikki Haley's home state, Trump is 30 points ahead. A recent Emerson poll in Nevada has him up 58 points.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if Nikki Haley, we should say Governor Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, goes to South Carolina and cannot win her home state, that would be very difficult. Trump is extremely strong in South Carolina. Now, you know, that Politico quote you just mentioned, the key word where was a non-incumbent candidate. And what we have here is Trump acting kind of like a quasi-incumbent candidate. No, he's not the president. He's not the incumbent president, but he's more than just a candidate. He was president. And when I talked to voters in Iowa, so many of them said, look, we don't have to kind of guess what he's going to do. We saw what he did for 4 years. They liked it, and they want to see him do it again because they think Joe Biden has messed up the country. So Trump has an advantage, that is, having been president, that no other candidate has.
Yep. And that obviously counts for an awful lot. Byron York, always good to talk to you. Thank you.
It does.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.